Don't skip. You're in a conversation when someone says it. A sentence so foolish it stops you mid-thought. Everyone nods along, but something inside you recoils. You've just witnessed a pattern that separates wisdom from its absence. Intelligence isn't measured by what you know. It's measured by what you refuse to say. The unwise broadcast every thought without filter, believing volume equals value. The wise understand that some phrases reveal more about your character than any credential ever could. This isn't about judging others. It's about recognizing patterns in ourselves. We've all spoken foolishly. Awareness is the first step to wisdom, and examining these patterns without ego is how we grow. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we may listen more and talk less." Yet most people reverse this ratio, speaking before thinking, reacting before reflecting. Today, on Save Yourself, we'll examine 7 phrases that reveal intellectual carelessness, words that sabotage credibility, damage relationships, and expose lack of self-awareness. I'll show you exactly when these patterns appear and why they're so destructive. Pay close attention to number 4. It's the phrase that ruins more opportunities than any other, yet people use it daily while calling it virtue. If you're committed to speaking with more wisdom, subscribe to Save Yourself so we can continue this journey together. Let's begin. Thing number 1. I know everything about. About the moment someone claims to know everything about something, they've revealed they understand almost nothing about wisdom itself. I know everything about marketing. I've completely figured out relationships. I understand exactly how this business works. Absolute certainty delivered with chest-puffed confidence. No room for doubt. No acknowledgement that complexity might exist beyond their current understanding. Tom worked in software development for 3 years. When he started prefacing every opinion with, "I know exactly how to solve this," in team meetings, and when someone proposed a different approach, he'd cut them off mid-sentence. "I've seen this before. I know what works." When new frameworks emerged, he'd dismiss them without examination. "I already know the best way to do this." The team eventually stopped including him in planning sessions not out of spite, but out of necessity. Why invite someone who's already decided they have nothing left to learn? When a major project required new technology, Tom volunteered to lead. He refused documentation, rejected training, insisted his existing knowledge was enough. 3 months in, the project collapsed. Not because the technology was too difficult, but because Tom had built everything on assumptions instead of understanding. When the failure became undeniable, he blamed the technology, the timeline, the team's support. 2 years later, Tom's still at the same level, while peers who asked questions and admitted gaps have all advanced. Here's what this phrase actually reveals. You've stopped paying attention to how much you don't know. The Dunning-Kruger effect shows that people with limited knowledge massively overestimate their competence. Real experts do the opposite. They underestimate their own expertise because they've seen enough to understand how vast the field truly is. When you claim complete knowledge, you're announcing that your understanding is shallow enough to seem complete. Socrates became famous for one statement, "I know that I know nothing." This wasn't philosophical wordplay or false modesty. It was recognition that genuine knowledge reveals how much more exists to learn. The wisest person in any room is often asking the most questions, not providing all the answers. Think about it. Every field contains more depth than one person can fully grasp in a lifetime. Physics, psychology, business, relationships, cooking. The complexity goes down layers most people never see. Claiming complete knowledge doesn't make you look confident. It makes you look like you stopped learning at the surface level and mistook it for the bottom. Marcus Aurelius, ruling the Roman Empire, still wrote daily reflections questioning his own judgments. If someone with that much power and experience maintained intellectual humility, what excuse do the rest of us have? Instead, try this. I have significant experience here, but I'm always learning. Or simply, here's what I understand so far. You maintain credibility while staying open to growth, the actual mark of expertise. Claiming complete knowledge keeps you stuck where you are. The next phrase does something worse. It doesn't just prevent your growth. It guarantees you'll defend every limitation you currently have. When you claim absolute mastery, you close the door to curiosity. The phrase, "I know everything about," doesn't make you sound smart. It exposes that your ego has replaced your intellect. True intelligence is humble. It says, I know a lot, but there's more to learn. That humility is what separates mastery from mediocrity. So, the next time you hear yourself declaring certainty, pause. Replace arrogance with awareness. That's how wisdom begins. Thing number 2, that's just how I am. It sounds harmless, even confident, but underneath, it's a shield against growth. When people say, that's just how I am, what they often mean is, I don't want to change. It's the verbal version of emotional stagnation, a subtle way of saying, I've accepted my flaws as permanent. Imagine someone who says, I'm just bad with money. That's how I am. Or, I always lose my temper, that's just me. They're not describing personality. They're defending limitation. Stoic philosophy teaches that character is formed through deliberate practice, not genetic destiny. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you become what you give your thoughts to. Every habit, every reaction, every emotional pattern is shaped by repetition, and repetition can be reshaped. On Save Yourself, we talk often about the difference between identity and behavior. When you label flaws as identity, you trap yourself. When you label them as behavior, you give yourself power to change. That's just how I am, ends the conversation. I want to understand why I'm like this. Begins transformation. The wise choose the second path. Here's what most people don't see. Saying, that's just how I am, doesn't make you authentic. It makes you avoid accountability. Growth is uncomfortable. Change hurts. But pretending that comfort equals truth keeps you stuck in the same loops. The strongest people you know, the ones who command respect quietly, all have one thing in common. They rewrite their patterns instead of defending them. So next time that phrase appears on your tongue, ask yourself, do I want to stay this way or evolve? If this message resonates with you, remember to subscribe to Save Yourself. The next phrase is even more deceptive. One most people think shows empathy, when in reality, it exposes emotional laziness. Let's continue. Thing number 3, I don't care what people think. At first glance, it sounds strong, independent, untouchable. But in truth, most people who say it care the most. They just pretend not to. The Stoics never taught indifference, they taught discipline of perception. I don't care what people think often hides bitterness, not peace. It's a defense mechanism to avoid the discomfort of judgment. Marcus Aurelius cared deeply about character. He said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That's not apathy, that's integrity. He didn't ignore what people thought. He filtered it through virtue. There's a difference between being free from validation and being blind to feedback. The first builds confidence. The second breeds arrogance. Here's a test. If someone criticizes you unfairly, do you calmly evaluate it, or do you rush to prove you're above caring? Because pretending not to care is still caring, just inverted. The wise listen to feedback without letting it define them. They extract truth and discard poison. On Save Yourself, we learn that emotional control isn't pretending to be numb. It's choosing what deserves your attention. The phrase, I don't care what people think, sounds like strength. But real strength is caring selectively, valuing truth over opinion, principle over popularity. So, next time you feel the urge to say it, pause. Say instead, I care what's right, not what's easy. That's what separates the stoic from the stubborn. The next phrase is one that destroys opportunities before they even start. It sounds responsible, even cautious, but in reality, it's just fear in disguise. Let's move forward. Thing number 4. It's not the right time. You've heard it before. Maybe you've even said it. But here's the truth. There is no perfect time. There is only now or never. The phrase, it's not the right time, disguises hesitation as wisdom. It sounds strategic, but most of the time, it's emotional procrastination dressed in logic. Seneca once wrote, while we wait for life, life passes. Every dream, every idea, every conversation we delay because we're waiting for a better moment that's time we'll never get back. The Stoics didn't chase comfort. They chased alignment with action. They knew that courage doesn't wait for clarity. It creates it. On Save Yourself, we often talk about how fear wears a mask. Sometimes it looks like overthinking. Sometimes it looks like patience. But beneath both is the same avoidance, the fear of failure. When you say, it's not the right time, you're really saying, I don't feel ready. And here's the secret: no one ever feels ready. Readiness is born in the act, not before it. Think about how many people die with ideas still inside them, not because they lacked talent, but because they waited. They waited for confidence. They waited for approval. They waited for the right time. Meanwhile, life moved on without them. Stoic wisdom teaches us that fortune favors action. Waiting for the universe to align is the same as surrendering your will to fear. So next time that phrase appears in your thoughts, ask yourself, is the timing really wrong? Or am I just scared of what happens if I start? The brave don't wait for perfect conditions, they make imperfect action look divine. Stay tuned, because the next phrase might be the most seductive of all, the one people use to justify every bad habit while sounding spiritual. Let's expose it together. Thing number 5. Everything happens for a reason. You've heard it whispered when things fall apart, when people face loss or betrayal. It feels comforting, like a soft blanket for the soul. But hidden beneath those words is often avoidance. The Stoics didn't believe that everything happens for you. They believed everything happens and your response gives it meaning. When you say, everything happens for a reason, you might be surrendering your responsibility to act. You turn pain into fate instead of fuel. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's the essence of true Stoicism, not blind optimism, but empowered acceptance. On Save Yourself, we teach that not everything that breaks you is meant to build you. Sometimes, it's just life being life. The purpose isn't in the event, it's in the lesson you choose to extract from it. You don't need a cosmic reason for your suffering. You need the strength to create meaning through it. Here's the difference. The weak seek reasons to avoid pain. The strong seek meaning through pain. One says, it happened for a reason, and stops there. The other says, it happened now, what am I going to do with it? That's how you transform tragedy into wisdom. So, remember the next time you hear someone say, everything happens for a reason. Don't just nod. Reflect. Ask, what reason will I give it? That's what separates those who drift from those who rise. If this message hit you deeply, make sure you subscribe to Save Yourself, where we turn pain into power, emotion into understanding, and confusion into clarity. In the next video, we'll explore the 5 lies people tell themselves to stay weak, and how Stoic philosophy helps you break them one by one. Because in the end, saving yourself doesn't mean avoiding pain, it means mastering it. And that's the real essence of everything we talk about here on Save Yourself, self-mastery through truth. Every phrase you've just learned isn't just language, it's a mirror, a reflection of the excuses, fears, and patterns that quietly hold you back. The moment you start noticing them, you start reclaiming your power. Stoic philosophy was never about being emotionless. It's about understanding emotion deeply so it no longer controls you. When Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events, he wasn't speaking to kings. He was speaking to you, to every person who's ever felt powerless, broken, or misunderstood. So, as you walk away from this video, I want you to carry one thought. Your language shapes your reality. Every word you speak is either a chain or a key. Choose keys. Choose awareness. Choose to save yourself every single day. If you found value in this message, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe to Save Yourself for more Stoic wisdom, emotional mastery, and modern philosophy that strengthens your mind against chaos. And before you go, the next video you should watch is 5 Lies Weak Men Tell Themselves. It's a brutal truth session that will challenge everything you think you know about strength, identity, and emotional control. Because the truth is simple, life doesn't get easier. You get stronger. And that's how you save yourself. Before you scroll away, stop for just a moment. Ask yourself this: are you living by design or by default? Every man who changed his life started with a single decision: to stop running from truth. On Save Yourself, that's what we do together. We face what others avoid. We turn silence into power, pain into purpose, and emotion into discipline. Because when you master your inner world, the outer world loses its power over you. So here's what you need to do right now. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the men who refuse to stay broken. Every week, we drop Stoic lessons that hit deeper than motivation, lessons that rewire your mind for strength, control, and purpose. Remember, no one's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. You see, Most people will watch a video like this, nod their heads, and then go right back to the same habits that drain their potential. They'll agree with every word but never act on it. Don't be like them. The Stoics taught that philosophy means nothing without practice. Wisdom that isn't lived becomes self-deception. Every phrase we expose today, "I know everything. That's just how I am. I don't care what people think. It's not the right time. Everything happens for a reason." Each one is a test of self-awareness. On Save Yourself, we don't chase comfort, we chase clarity. We don't seek to feel better, we seek to become better. That's why this channel exists. To remind you that your power doesn't come from avoiding pain, but from transforming it into discipline. So after you close this video, take one phrase you've been living by and challenge it. Replace it with truth, because that's where change begins, in one honest moment with yourself. And when you're ready to go deeper, watch our next video, The Lies Weak Men Tell Themselves. It's raw, uncomfortable, and necessary. This is Save Yourself, where you don't just listen to wisdom, you live it. Before you go, I want you to remember something. Every storm you've faced, every heartbreak, every failure, they weren't sent to destroy you. They were sent to introduce you to yourself, the version of you that doesn't flinch when life tests him, the version that doesn't beg for peace, he builds it. That's what it means to save yourself. It's not about being cold, emotionless, or detached. It's about learning how to remain centered while the world falls apart around you. It's about realizing that control doesn't come from domination, it comes from understanding. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's your challenge. Don't just consume this wisdom, become it. Let it show in how you speak, how you love, how you endure. Because one day, when the noise fades and you're left alone with your thoughts, you'll realize no one else was ever meant to save you. It was always your job, your duty, your destiny. So take a breath, stand tall, and remember your power begins where your excuses end. Save yourself. If you made it this far, it means something inside you is ready. Ready to stop playing small. Ready to stop waiting for the world to understand you. You've heard enough lies, seen enough betrayal, and carried enough pain to know that real strength comes from silence, not noise. That's why this channel exists. Save Yourself isn't just a name, it's a movement. A reminder that no one is coming to hand you peace, respect, or love. You have to earn it by mastering your thoughts, guarding your emotions, and staying grounded when everything around you demands reaction. So before this video fades, make a promise to yourself. No more living on autopilot. No more emotional shortcuts. No more waiting for the right time. Every day, rise with intention. Speak with discipline. Act with courage. And when the world tries to pull you back into chaos, stay still, stay sharp, and save yourself. Now go watch the next video, The Lies Weak Men Tell Themselves. It's waiting to challenge everything you thought you knew about strength. I'll see you there.